Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I just read a news story, actually several news stories. I'll probably link one or two versions down below for you guys, of a woman here in Texas by the name of Rosa Ortega, who was found guilty of election fraud. She's a Mexican citizen who was brought over here as a child. She never obtained any citizenship. She is not a citizen, didn't go through any of the process, and she has been voting. And she was caught voting. And where she messed up, when she went to do it, she was denied like her voter registration card. She said, yeah, but I voted somewhere else. And it turned out, she's claiming it's a mistake. She got a good defense attorney who's claiming she has a learning disability, that she just made a mistake. The forms were confusing. She didn't know she couldn't vote. But then they found out that she apparently knowingly lied on some of the other forms to get the ability to vote. And that's exactly what we're talking about with this voter fraud and illegal immigrants and foreign nationals coming in and voting for Hillary. All right, well, I'm going to get into that a little more in a minute. But yeah, I think the voter fraud is extremely widespread in this last election. I think there was multiple tactics used. Granted, Trump still won because he had such an enormous grassroots support that he was able to win in spite of all the voter fraud that's going on. That's what I'm convinced of. So you have a case right here of one documented and a woman being caught red-handed lying. And of course, again, a defense attorney is claiming, well, she didn't understand. Well, she understood lying on a form to get permission to vote, knowing she probably couldn't really vote legally if she had told the truth. So again, you got to wonder how many cases like this do we have? Probably a lot. And this is, again, one of the reasons the left, the Democrats, are so big on making it easier for people to get in to vote. They always want to write laws that favor them. They always claim, requiring IDs to vote is unconstitutional because it will disproportionately stop people who would vote Democrat. So they want people to basically come in and be able to vote without any ID, without being able to prove who they are in any way to affect things like elections, which affect the entire country, the entire world. It's the single most important part of our government, our ability to elect our officials. Basically, they want a policy in place that would allow voter fraud. That's exactly their intent, because that is what they always intend to use, is voter fraud to win elections. To allow illegal immigrants and other people who would vote Democrat. Because they're not lying when they say it would stop people who would vote Democrat. It's that they intend to use people illegally. They intend to commit voter fraud. That's exactly the entire point of what they do, claiming that people don't have ID. Seriously, they can't afford ID. As if it's expensive to go down and get an ID issue. It's not even legal to be in public without an ID, to be honest. So I don't know why they would think they should be allowed to vote without one. They should be arrested on the spot for not having an ID when they walk into some of these polling stations. They can't prove who they are. I mean, seriously, anyone walking in without ID attempting to vote needs to be arrested and then make sure they are who they say they were. That's what I think. And if they lied, then, they've committed voter fraud. Now, in this case, though, back to this story. This woman committed voter fraud, was found guilty. The jury threw 8 years in prison at her, and then she's going to be deported when she's let out. Now, a lot of people are screaming, this is too harsh, it's too harsh, that's just crazy. She has 4 children, her children are going to be separated from their mother. You know what? I'm sorry, but that's a terrible excuse that people use. They always want to hide behind children. There are people who don't like an outcome of something. They want to use that people's children as a shield. Well, you know what? This woman didn't think about her children being separated from them when she's in our country as a foreigner, breaking our laws, all right, committing voter fraud. And I think that's the point, is that so many of these people have gotten away with it for so long, and it probably does go through all these circles of people, hey, we can do this, we can come in and commit all this voter fraud, and the Americans don't do anything. And I think that's why they get bold with it and don't think about it, because probably 1 million of them a year get away with it. And now they're not going to get away with it under our changes in our laws. And having Trump here, who's pissed off about it, they aren't going to get away with it anymore. It's going to be stopped. And people screaming that's too harsh. You know what? I have a different view. I don't think it's harsh enough. In fact, I don't think we should be paying to feed and clothe her in a prison for 8 years. This is a foreign national who came into our country and tampered with our elections. When we send agent provocateurs into other countries and we tamper with their elections and they get caught, they put them to death. I think she should get the death penalty. I know a lot of people are like, wow, that's crazy, that's harsh. No, it's not. You start doing that, that'll set an example. You start killing people for committing voter fraud, And people are going to quit doing it. They'll quit doing it real fast when you start executing people for it. All right? Because this is a serious enough crime. I mean, when you talk about committing voter fraud, people need to understand the level of tampering that is with a democratic process in a country. That's a major deal. If you're in your own country doing it, that's basically treason. That is treason if you were to come in and do that within your own country. Treason is punishable by death. So yeah, I think we do need to crack down on this, and I think anyone that's convicted of voter fraud, when Trump starts his investigation, I think they should get treason charges, death penalty, public executions. You want to stop this voter fraud, that's how you stop it. You execute these people on national television. And again, I know that sounds harsh, but people need to understand how serious this was. You need to think about the fact that Hillary tried to commit voter fraud. She tried to steal an election from a grassroots movement. Hillary was going to start World War III with Russia. All right, had her voter fraud been successful, we could be involved in World War III. I mean, you need to understand the seriousness of that. Again, she wanted to bring tons of potential terrorists into our country. She wanted to increase refugees from terrorist countries. She was making deals with countries that have extremist Sharia law leaders. All right, this is a woman who would have caused us a lot of trouble. And again, who wanted war with Russia. She was a war hawk. Do you understand the ramifications of putting someone into power who wants to start World War III with a nuclear superpower? That's what we were looking at. All right, had this voter fraud wide scale been successful and Hillary had won, we would be in a world of trouble. We would be in a world of trouble. And so people want to talk about, oh, that's excessive. You understand the loss of life? The loss of life in our country could have been excessive had Hillary come in. All right, and particularly someone that hated by the military, that hated by veterans, hated by police officers, hated by right-wing patriots as Hillary was. She is more hated than Obama was by far. All right, she was more hated than Obama by these groups. You think about that, someone like that comes into power, you see all this rioting from these leftists. You have no idea what you would have seen had Hillary come in, particularly veterans, military, police, tons of armed people. No, that would have been your protesters. That would have been your people committing civil disobedience. You would be looking at a possible revolution had Hillary gone into power and started implementing policies she wanted. That's what people are looking at. The people who voted for her don't understand how hated she was and how hated her policies and ideas were by the people you rely on, much of the working class and most of the armed people in this country and veterans and everyone else. That's not a situation you want. That's what you're looking at. And she tried to steal the election illegally. And it's women like this are just one tiny part of it who come in and commit this voter fraud inside our country. So no, I don't think the death penalty is that harsh. Again, people have been executed for treason in this country before and espionage. And there are people today who would probably say that was too harsh. Oh, they just gave some secrets to the Russians. Well, we execute people for that. And most countries execute people for espionage, treason, things like that. That's normal. And people who do these things know that's what's going to happen if they get caught. I'm sorry, we need to treat voter fraud the same way. How is that any different? That's trying to completely undermine the election process, the democratic process in a free country. I think that should be punishable by death, and that would include this woman. So people are saying it's too harsh. No, I think it's too harsh that the American citizens got to pay for her for 8 years. She's not even one of our citizens. I say they put a bullet in her head on national television and set an example. Put a bullet in her head and then fling her body over the wall with a catapult back over to Mexico for them to deal with. I think that would be fair. And if that sounds too harsh to you, then maybe you don't understand how important it is to protect our election process and protect our election process from foreign interests, because that's exactly what this is about. That's exactly what this is about. And if you don't understand that, then maybe you don't understand what America and democracy is about. So yeah, I think she's getting off a little bit easy. I don't think it's harsh at all. And again, people who want to use her children for it, oh, it's like, really? So having children should just be a cop-out from committing whatever heinous crimes you want because you know it will hurt your children for you to be punished. I mean, I can't believe that level of excuse. So I guess anyone who doesn't want to get in trouble for their crimes should just go have lots of children. Amazing strategy. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.